partner violence. Oh yeah, another one on here. Mother treated violently, which is intimate partner violence. Substance misuse. I've seen people with mental illness in my house. Parents have either been separated or divorced, or an incarcerated member in my house. Just think of whether they're family members or friends who have died a premature death or who are suffering from a chronic disease. Ask them if they've been exposed to any of this. Now, I just went over briefly the ACE study briefly. Now I'm gonna go over with you the ACE survey. And now these are 10 questions. I gotta soften the mood a little bit because I know this is rough. I know this is rough, family, but I believe we really need this. I believe we need this. Soften the mood a little bit. Now, the ACE study, the ACE survey, and again, they said if these things aren't addressed, you can take 20 years off of your life. Now, these 10 questions, they say if you answer yes to like 2 or more, you are at great risk for your mental and emotional health and even being prone to substance abuse. 10 questions. Think about yourself. You don't got to raise your hand and say anything. If you do, that's fine. But think about yourself, what you have experienced, and think about people in your family, if they would say yes, if you was to ask them these questions. And I can forward these questions to you because I had to study this in school. 10 questions. If you answer yes to about 2 or more, they said you possibly need some therapy and you could be prone to chronic disease, and it could possibly take 20 years off your life, or you could be prone to substance abuse or depression. Now, question 1, listen to me and listen to me good. This is the hour of power with Brother Shareef. Did a parent or other adult in the household swear at you, put you down, or embarrass you constantly? That's question number 1 in the ACE survey. Did a parent or an adult in the household, because a lot of us ain't just my mom, my dad, my brother and sister. Sometimes we have different members in the household. Hell, I'm living with someone right now. Bless their heart for helping. You know who you are. Did a parent or other adult swear at you, put you down, or embarrass you? That's question number 1. Question number 2. Did a parent or other adult push, grab, slap, or throw things at you? Did a parent or another adult push, grab, slap, or throw things at you, which goes back to the risk factors above about physical neglect, emotional neglect, and physical abuse? Question 3, did an adult or someone else in a household at least 5 years older than you touch or fondle you in a sexual way? Okay. Sure, brother, no problem. Brother, do you need me to repeat any of those questions? So, where did I leave off? Did an adult or someone in the household at least 5 years older than you touch or fondle you in a sexual way? We talked about that earlier, about the amount of sexual abuse and how it's a deep, dark secret in the black community. People being sexually abused in our community, and no one wants to talk about it, even to the point where they will protect the perpetrator. And if it was up to me, these people, their blood would be dripping down the street. Oh, Brother Shareef, that sounds violent. Yeah, but look at the trauma and the negative effect that it's having on the victims. Especially on our sisters. Oh, I can't. These black women, they're just impossible to deal with. Yeah, but do you know what they've been through? Do you know 1 out of every 4 black women has been physically or sexually abused at some point in their life? I'm going to say it again. All you got to do is look at the movie Thou Art Loose by T.D. Jakes? It is a study out there that 1 in every 4 black women has been physically or sexually abused at some point in their life. So if I lined up 100 black women in front of me and said, 1, 2, 3, 4, you got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, you got it. You've been sexually abused or physically abused. So no wonder they're short-tempered, angry, hurt, don't know how to navigate their emotions sometime. A lot of them has been physically or sexually abused by their own father, their own brother, their own uncle. Where is the safe sanctuary? Where is the safe sanctuary for our girls? Moving along. Boy, I'm so upset right now. I don't know what to do with myself. Do you often feel, these are the ACE survey questions. This is question number 5. Do you often feel no one in the family made you feel important? Some of us are so caught up in Power and Desperate Housewives of Atlanta and all this silly boyfriends and girlfriends. Number one, why would you want a boyfriend? I'm going to say it again. Why would you want a boyfriend? Shouldn't you want a man friend? See, even our terminology is twisted by being in this country. Why would you want a boyfriend? So some of us are so caught up with our boyfriends, our girl. Why would you want a girlfriend? Wouldn't you want a woman friend or a wife? Some of us are so caught up in this foolishness that we ain't even paying attention to our children, which goes back to the question about children. Remember, if these issues aren't addressed by the time you're 18, it says you can take possibly 20 years off your life or be subject to chronic disease, depression, or substance abuse. Do you often feel anyone in your family made you feel important? Yes. Hey, sis, how you doing? Why? Are you asking me a question, sis, or are you just repeating what I'm saying? Because I'm here to answer people's questions. The next question. Do you feel you didn't have enough to eat, clean clothes, or no one protected you? That's the next question. Do you feel you didn't often have enough to eat, have clean clothes, or no one to protect you? Now, I'm a therapist and a counselor in the school system. When I was in North Carolina, I'm doing the same thing here in Pennsylvania. You wouldn't believe the amount of children that will come to school without clean clothes or wouldn't come to school at all because they were ashamed that children were going to make fun of them because their clothes smelled. So in order to avoid being made fun of and bullied, they just didn't come to school at all, or they start getting in fights because children are making fun of them because they don't have clean clothes. So that's what this question is asking. Did you often feel you didn't have enough to eat, you didn't have clean clothes, or no one didn't protect you? You wouldn't believe the amount of children that are in the lunch line, the breakfast line, first thing in the morning because they don't have enough to eat. Many children come to school specifically because they don't have enough to eat. So this is a very valid question. Were your parents ever separated or divorced? This is a question that hits across all racial, ethnic, and religious lines. It's a 50% divorce rate in America. Hold on, I'm getting a lot of messages here. See if I can get this off. There we go. All right. Yes. So it says, were your parents ever separated and divorced? You don't need to be a counselor or a therapist to understand the traumatic effect of separation and divorce. We talked about that earlier on the great show that my brother Tino and brother Wayne Scott had on Busting It Up. Please look out for that. We talked about broken families. Broken families, that is very traumatic. I come from a broken family. I was so confused and so hurt when my mother and my father separated. It causes all kind of issues. There's no such thing as a good divorce. You can try to make it as best as you can if the two people can communicate. There's no such thing as a good divorce. It's not good. It's not really meant to happen. Who gets married with the intention or thinking you're going to divorce? You think it's going to be forever, but this has a traumatic effect on the children. The mother goes her way, the father goes their way, but what's the child supposed to do? Are they supposed to choose sides? They're confused, they're hurt, their whole family regiment is broken up. So that was the next question. Next question. Listen to this. Was your mom or stepmother ever pushed, grabbed, slapped, or something thrown at her? Was your mom or your stepmom, because we have a lot of blended families, was your mom, stepmom ever pushed, grabbed, slapped, or something thrown at her? Do you know the amount of abuse? We already talked about that our sisters suffer, but now it's talking about, has the child witnessed it? Do you know the amount of violence that children witness and then it's never processed with them? Meaning one of the parents sit down with them and say, hey, I'm sorry that happened. I lost my temper, blah, blah, blah. And then we wonder why, what the brother Timon said, these words will break the cycle of poverty. Keep bringing the facts. Thank you, brother. Keep spreading it for me. Do you know, no wonder, I'm starting with the boys. No wonder a lot of our boys are so violent, because they see a lot of violence. We talked about this earlier. In the CDC, it is reported that a 18-year-old witnesses 16,000 murders before he's 18 via visually seeing it or TV. I'm going to say that again. The CDC, and I can get the info for you. The average 18-year-old, 16 to 18-year-old witness is anywhere between 16 to 18,000 murders. Either seeing it himself or on TV, and we wonder why our boys are so volatile and violent. Look at the violence they see right there in the home. Right there in the home. Getting a little off track, but on track. This is for the brothers and the sisters. For the brothers and the sisters. Brothers, sisters, if you get into an argument with your significant other, and this is coming from a counselor and a therapist, if you get into an argument with your significant other, hopefully you don't, but arguments do happen. Please, for the love of God, don't argue with that person, especially if you see them getting volatile. Do not argue with them in two places. Two places you don't argue with someone. I'm talking about in the home if they're getting volatile. The kitchen and the bedroom. I'm going to say it again, and this is the hour of power, or Brother Shareef. There are two places in the home that you do not get into an argument with someone, especially if they are volatile or if they're getting volatile. The kitchen, because sharp objects are in the kitchen. Knives, scissors, and the bedroom, because most likely people who have firearms, the gun is in the bedroom. If you look at the murders in the home, most people who are murdered by another partner, they're murdered, most intimate partner violence, it happens right there in the home. I bet you can see some of the shows and it probably flew over your head, or they see the body in the bedroom and in the kitchen. Yes. Moving on. I hope I'm not upsetting anyone. This is just reality. Now, last three questions. ACE study survey. Adverse childhood experiences. I gave you the risk factors. Now we're going over the questions. They said if you score more than 2 or 3 on this survey, you are at great risk for depression, substance abuse, chronic disease, and it can even take 20 years off your life, including me. I have given this survey to people and they started crying and said, I've scored at least a 5 or 6. So don't feel bad, but know to do something from this point on. Next question. Do you live with someone that had problems with drugs or alcohol? I don't got to go into no lecture about that. Do you live with someone who has problems with drugs or alcohol? I've given plenty talks. Go back on my YouTube channel. Hour of Power, Shareef Hamid, and I've talked about substance abuse. If someone is addicted to drugs or alcohol, even though those narcotics and those drugs and the alcohol is going in their body, it's like you're on it, not physically, but the mental toll that it takes on the whole family. When someone is on drugs or alcohol, it takes a toll on the whole family. They may come by because now the drugs is taken over. They may steal from you. They may be abusive towards you. Or if you love them and you're trying to help them, that will take a mental toll on you. Next question. Was a family member depressed, mentally ill, or suicidal? And anything that needs uprooting and changes will feel the upsetting. Yes, sis, and definitely. Thank you for your input. Was a family member depressed, mentally ill, or suicidal? Suicide is going through the roof with the black community. It used to be taboo. We used to say, quote unquote, only white people do that. Only they jump off buildings. Only they kill themselves when things ain't going. That's not the case anymore. Suicide is through the roof with the black community. And it's easy for someone to say, I'll never take my life. And how could someone do that? And I hope that's your mindset. But some people get so down and it is like no hope for them. No hope for them because of depression. Depression is a monster. It is a monster. that they just feel like there's no hope for them, so they end their life. God is not